I'm back, baby, back on YouTube, guys, this time for good. Hey friends, hope you're all doing well. I'm glad you're here because today we're taking a look at my new garage gym. Let's go.
From the top. Okay. Drop that. Yeah. Feel the funk, y'all. Yeah. Feel the funk, y'all. Yeah. You lay back in the cut. What's up? What's up?
From Alpha to Omega, VHS to Beta, PlayStation to Sega, my skill is still greater. The sickest thing since VD, wicked like VG. Live my life crooked like the left finger on ET. Please believe me, this be the realest thing I ever wrote. Right after talking to Pac, puffing on heavy smoke. Laugh now, cry later. My only dream in life was to rock a mic up in front of you spectators and rock shell toes, not gators. Show love, not haters. I'm switching over like crossfaders to a better time and place where.
Hey, what's up guys? My name is Adam with Garage Gym Lab. And if you're new here, this channel is all about testing and reviewing gym equipment, building the home gym community, and providing inspiration to anybody who's looking to build their dream gym. So if that's something you're into, I definitely encourage you to subscribe. That way you can stay up to date on all the weekly content. So if you guys have been following me on Instagram, you've seen that a couple things have happened to my family and I over the last couple of months. And one of which is we moved back to my home state of South Carolina. And since that move, I've been documenting my gym build, at least on Instagram, but it's finally there. I'm excited to show you guys in a full-length YouTube video everything that I'm working with. So without further ado, let's start right here with the literal foundation of my gym, and that's the flooring. As some of you may recall, in my first garage, when I first started it back in 2016, all I started with was an 8x8 platform that I built myself with some plywood and 2 horse stall mats. I had my Rogue R3 mounted directly onto it, and it treated me well for about 2 years. Eventually, I ended up upgrading to a 6-post rack, this Sorinex XL rack right to my left, and I instead elected to get rid of my 8x8 platform and put down a full coverage horse stall mat across the entire floor. And again, that treated me really well. It was budget friendly, very durable, protected my floor, protected my equipment. Really can't complain too much, especially for the money. But when it came to building this new gym, I really wanted to do something special, something that you don't really see too often in a garage gym. So I contacted a company called Play out of Georgia. You may be familiar with them. They have a pretty big partnership with Rogue. They do a lot of their facility build outs. And you might also find Play, well, actually you will definitely find Play in NFL weight rooms, professional sports facilities, collegiate sports facilities, military facilities, etc. Very, very high quality product. And to say that it's better than a horse stall mat is really an understatement. It's completely different. Immediately, once you even walk on it, you can tell that it's a different product, has a little bit more bounce to it, distributes force much more efficiently. It of course has a seamless look that looks awesome, water jet logo, and I really can't say enough good things about this flooring. I'll have a full review on it pretty soon, but suffice it to say, I'm super happy with how it turned out. So now that we've kind of taken a look at the floor, let's take a look at what's sitting on top. All right, guys, we'll kick this thing off right here with one of my most recent additions to the garage gym, and that is the Rep PR5000 V2 Power Rack. This is Rep's highest end power rack. It's 3x3 with 1-inch holes. I have the 6-post version here, and this would compare favorably to something like a Rogue Monster rack or a Sorinex XL rack, which I'll show you momentarily. The good thing about the Rep rack is it's a good bit cheaper in most cases, depending on what attachments you buy and things like that. I've got the clear grind uprights with white cross members. Wanted to do something a little bit different, but also maintain some of the same elements that I have on my Sorinex rack in order to be able to compare them side by side. Now I've basically got every attachment that Rep offers for this rack up to this point. Got the new ISO arms here, got the lat pull down low row combo in the back, basically every safety feature they have, band pegs, sandwich cups, leg rollers, pull-up bars, dip stations, you name it. If Rep makes it, I've pretty much got it on this rack. But I've had it for about a month now, really enjoying using it. And I've been getting a lot of questions like, Adam, why did you put 2 huge 6-post racks in your garage gym? And the answer to that is really twofold. On one hand, it gives me a little bit more versatility. I can set up dedicated stations here, do things in this rack that I don't necessarily do in my Sorinex rack. Like I said, I've got some different pull-up variations here. I can do cable work. The ISO arms are actually a little bit shorter than the jammer arms on the Sorinex rack, so that gives me a little bit of a different movement. I've got my Squat Max MD side mounted on this rack, so it just opens up a little bit more versatility. And the second thing is it gives me the opportunity to train with multiple people at any given time, which is something that I definitely want to do now that we're in a new neighborhood. And apparently Clinton Portis lives in this neighborhood, so if anybody knows him personally and wants to put in a good word, that'd be awesome. I'd love to get him in here and train. But otherwise, guys, this is the rack. So we'll take you around, show you what's on the back of it, and give you a closer look at that Squat Max. As I mentioned, guys, I've got the Squat Max MD side mounted on this rack. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Squat Max, it's a very basic belt squat machine that attaches directly to your rack, although they also do have a standalone version. Uses a guide rod, a loading pin, and a belt to create a true 1-to-1 ratio of vertical load directly under the hips. And in doing so, it creates, in my opinion, one of the best pure belt squats on the market. Now, it's not as versatile as something like a Rogue Rhino or a Westside ATP or a winning belt squat. But again, if you're looking for a pure belt squat, this one is really tough to beat, in my opinion. It's also considerably less expensive, and it takes up much less of a footprint. Off the back of the rack, guys, we've got a few different style of plates. Up top, we've got the Rep urethane equalizers. These are nice if you're looking for that shooter style plate. I received them when I got this rack in about a month ago. So far, I've been using them a lot with the Squat Max, as well as some other stuff, and I'm definitely enjoying them so far. I actually had the iron version of the equalizers about 2 years ago. Didn't really care for them that much. They weren't sitting flush. I subsequently sold them. These are a huge improvement in my opinion. Down here, I've got the calibrated powerlifting plates from Strongarm Sport. I've had these for probably 2 years now as well, and they've held up really nicely. These are very similar to Rogue, a little bit cheaper. So if you're looking for calibrated plates, these might be one to consider. And down here, I've got some Usaga 5 kilogram bumpers. Now, if you've ever used a 5 kilogram bumper or a 10-pound bumper, you'll probably know that over time they tend to warp or taco, as they call it. But this one's pretty much guaranteed not to do that. It's got, well, a ton of bolts surrounding that center hub, and it's just extremely durable. So you can feel free to drop this plenty of times and it's not gonna taco or warp. Down here, I've got some American Barbell urethane plates, a full set of these. These not only function great, but they're just some of the sexiest plates on the market, super vibrant colors. Big fan of these. Moving over here, guys, I've got some specialty bars as well as my Sand Dune stepper. If you guys have been following me for any amount of time, you know that I'm a big fan of the Sand Dune, not only for its versatility, but also for its purpose. Great for rehab, prehab, conditioning, strength prep, sensory, all around great tool, highly recommend it. Over here, I've got some specialty bars. This is the Intex Mod F bar. It is an open-ended trap bar, and it's really one of the first ones on the market like this. Intex and Move Strong were really the pioneers behind the open-ended trap bar design. Now, of course, you've got a lot of companies who are doing an open-ended trap bar, Prime Fitness, Kabuki Strength, Eleiko, etc. But definitely a nice bar to have in the collection. Got 2 of my safety squat bars here. We've got the Titan SSB, the Bells of Steel SSB. We've got the Kabuki Cadillac bar and a couple other Swiss bars, one of which is the Edge Fitness Slim Football Bar, which is actually, I think, the very first specialty bar that I ever bought back in 2016. And I've also got the Earthquake bar from Barbell. I've got a few more specialty bars on the other side. I'll show you guys in a bit, but this is the majority of it right here. Okay, guys, moving right along, we've got one of my favorite aspects of the entire gym, and that's my dumbbell and my storage area. This particular storage unit is the Sorinex Iron Bear, customized in my green. It's got the 4-way hole design, which is not unlike any other Sorinex piece. But the great thing about that is it makes it very modular. I think this thing goes up to like 8 tiers. You can mount a lat pull down low row on one side, a functional column on the other, and otherwise do some really cool things. Like I've got the urethane pen set up here. I can have plate storage, chain, hanging space, got 8 barbells that can be put onto this storage unit. And this particular one is a 4-tier height, and I got 3 dumbbell shelves. And the reason I did that was because it gives me a few feet underneath for storing odds and ends. I've got med balls, slam balls, and a few other things there. In terms of the actual dumbbells, this unit allows me to hold 15 pairs. And I've got the Rep urethane dumbbells here. And the reason I went with urethane is really a few reasons. On one hand, they're smaller than a rubber hex in terms of length, so it makes them a little less unwieldy to move around. You get better range of motion on certain lifts, especially things like presses and things like that. Secondly is urethane has virtually no odor. Unlike a rubber hex dumbbell, it may present a little bit of that rubbery smell. You don't get that with urethane. Thirdly, and to a lesser degree, it's a more durable product. I don't know that that's really something to be a big consideration in a garage gym unless you're training a ton of people or you're just mistreating your equipment, but it's at least a distinction that's worth noting. And the last thing is I just like the way they look. I like the round profile. I like the white text. It really pops off the ends there. And otherwise, guys, these are some awesome dumbbells. Definitely not cheap. They're, the highest priced dumbbells you can buy from Rep at least, and from most others, but definitely high quality. Oh, and check this out. These are the Intex Strength stainless steel self-leveling dumbbells. Look at that, stainless steel from end to end. These things are so cool, fully knurled, all stainless steel, self-leveling. I mean, that's just so cool. And this one pair of 45s costs, I think, like $750. Definitely not cheap, but I will say, guys, you're gonna wanna pay attention on Instagram in the next few weeks. I can't give away more than that, but it's definitely not gonna be one that you wanna miss. So that's it, guys, that's this station. Let's keep moving. In this corner, guys, we've got a little bit of a conditioning area. On the far left, we've got some custom Garage Gym Lab branded crash mats, which really aren't conditioning at all, but something at least worth pointing out. On the left, we've got the Vulcan Skull Rower, and on the right here, we've got the True Form Trainer. The Vulcan Rower is a nice budget-friendly rower. It doesn't have as high of a price tag as the Concept 2, and mechanically, I can't really tell too much of a difference between the two. I actually prefer the handle and the seat both on the Vulcan Rower compared to the Concept, but when you compare the monitors, there's really no comparison. Concept is the clear winner. If you're someone who's just looking for a really good rowing workout, this is a great option. If you're someone who's competitive or is really data-driven, Concept is likely the better option. At the end of the day, Concept is the king of that mountain and likely always will be. Again, this is the True Form Trainer. It's the slightly less expensive version of the True Form Runner. And the main difference is it has a slightly less aggressive slope and it doesn't have a fully welded frame. But this is a great conditioning piece. I use it for all-out sprints and HIIT. I don't really use it too much for walking, but otherwise, both of these are heavily used here. Big fan. Right here, we've got the piece that I probably get asked the most about, and that's the Prime Fitness Selectorize single stack. This has been a total game changer for me in my space. It gives me so much more versatility and variety in my training, and it doesn't take up too much space. I'll have a full review of this one probably in the next week or two, but I'll walk you through it really quickly right here. So it's got a 350-pound stack, which is more than most competing products, which is fantastic. And what makes this unit so special is it's got a sliding column here, which, is like most others. You can set it high and do triceps, you can set it low and do curls, you can set it in between and do pal-off presses and things like that. But what's so cool about it is it's got these 1-inch holes drilled right in to allow you to set up attachments directly onto the unit. For instance, a lat pull-down seat or some low row feet. Now this is a 2-to-1 ratio. You can also get it in a 4-to-1 ratio. And the dedicated high pulley on this particular unit is a 1-to-1 ratio, or it's a 2-to-1 ratio if you buy the 4-to-1 ratio version of the single column. So this has given me so much variety in my training, guys. It's absolutely awesome. There's a few drawbacks to it. I'll point it out in the review, but otherwise I have very good things to say about this, and it gets almost daily use from me in my training. Moving right along, guys, we've got a few different benches here. One thing you'll notice is that all of these benches are from Rep Fitness. In my opinion, Rep is making some of the best benches for the money. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best benches in general on the market, but when you consider the quality that you're getting and the price that you're paying, they're really hard to beat. So starting right here, we've got the Rep FB 5000. This is their high-end coveted flat bench, and in my opinion, one of the best for most people. What makes this bench so nice is that it sits at IPF height, even with a 4-inch fat pad on it. Also, it has a tripod design, which in my opinion is the biggest benefit of it. If you're like me, in the past, I've had like a Rogue utility bench, for example, the feet of the actual bench would get in the way of my feet when I'm trying to initiate leg drive. It was super annoying trying to position my body every time. This just eliminates that entirely, makes it much, much easier. Again, I've got the Thompson fat pad from Rogue on here. If you do want a fat pad, I highly recommend this one, although Rep also makes a wide pad with a grippy vinyl as well. Moving over here, we've got the Zero Gap bench, the AB5000 from Rep. And I would say that this is really what put Rep on the market in terms of their benches, because it rather brilliantly solves a problem that many benches suffer from and many people find annoying. And that's the gap between the seat and the back. It does this in basically every position, full incline and full decline, through a pretty simple pop pin adjustment on the bottom of the seat. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's also not slow. It's pretty easy to set up. If you want to do decline work on this, you will need to buy this separate leg attachment. I think it's like $90. This bench uses a telescoping spine and a telescoping seat. And again, it's pretty easy to set up. Now, if you're watching this walkthrough soon after it was published, then I've got a pretty big giveaway going on for one of these benches. So make sure to enter that on Instagram at Garage Gym Lab. And here we've got the Rep 5200, the AB 5200. This is Rep's most recent adjustable bench, and personally, my favorite. I don't do much decline work. This one is only incline and flat, but what makes it so great, not only is it heavier than the 5000, it feels more like a tank, but it's so much faster to set up because it uses a ladder style bench. So ladder style on the back, ladder style on the seat, and just like that, you're up and running. By the way, all of these benches have wheels, and these two can be, actually all three of them can be stored vertically for easy storage. So those are my benches, guys. Let's keep moving. Welcome to my most recent DIY project, probably the one that I'm most proud of to date, and that's my water heater enclosure. Now, when I first bought this house, I saw this heinous water heater sitting in the corner and thought to myself, oh man, how am I gonna ever do anything in here? I didn't really wanna spend another few $1,000s on a tankless water heater considering all the other projects we had in the house. So this is the solution that I came up with, and I think it works great. It gives me 50 additional square footage of hanging space that I otherwise would not have had I not done this. There's 10 wall control metal pegboards attached here. Highly recommend wall control if you guys are looking for organization. This is framed up using 2x3 studs, drywalled on the front, and then painted to match the interior walls of the rest of the garage. This holds everything from bands to belts to cable attachments. I've got all the prime attachments, Elite FTS, Tsunami, some mobility stuff, Pioneer belts, breath belt, iron neck, you name it, grips, collars, whatever odds and ends I don't need to have floating around the gym, I can just store right here, and it looks pretty cool. Right here, guys, we've got the heart of the garage gym, my pride and joy, my coveted Sorinex XL power rack. And aside from this just being a great, functional, heavy-duty power rack, this one carries a little bit of a sentimental value to me. This is something I worked really hard for. It was my first big purchase for my garage back in 2018. Had it custom branded to Garage Gym Lab with my color scheme and all sorts of stuff. And, I sort of have a history, with Sorinex. I went to college at the University of South Carolina, which is just right down the street from Sorinex headquarters. I actually used Sorinex equipment dating back to 2004 when I was a freshman on campus. And it's something that I've always wanted to have of my own. And I'm really honored to have it in my space. So this is the core piece of my home gym, and I'm very proud of it. You'll also notice that I've got a few bars on this rack, partly because I'm running out of storage and partly because these are some of the bars that I use most frequently. Right here, we've got the Mars bar. I've been using this almost exclusively during Squattober. It's just, it's a really nice bar, kind of expensive, but if you're a low bar squatter historically, which I am, and you've got some shoulder issues, or you just want, something that's a little bit easier to sort of use, you don't have to, set back here like this is a great option. It's also very versatile in its own right. You can do front squats with it, good mornings, Hatfield squats, and some other cool things. On the back here, we've got the Elite FTS SS yoke bar, which is, in my opinion, the best traditional safety squat bar, not named a Krepensek. I love this bar. I've been using it for several years now. Held up great. Awesome, awesome bar. And then down here, I've got the Rep Power Speed bar, stainless steel version, which is great for what I like to use it for is bench press. And the unique thing about this bar is it has the knurl cut short by like 5 inches or so. And it just makes it easier to slide around on the J cups without having like, you know, your knurl grip it and rip it, or a roller cup. And speaking of roller cups, I've got the Go Strong V2 roller cups here. These are by far the best fit and finish J cups on the market as far as I'm concerned. There is literally no wiggle room in this cup. It fits perfectly. It's beautiful. I've actually got the Duffalo Blocks, which are great if you have a buffalo bar. That way it doesn't roll on you. And you can also replace these with the rollers themselves to have, you know, that smooth movement if you're trying to recenter the bar quickly. But yeah, this is my rack. Oh, and I've got some plates on the back. I've got some pretty cool stuff here. And I'll show you another one of my pride and joys, my Intex Strength custom branded armor bumpers. These are so cool. Look at that logo. It's literally inset into the plate. It's not like a printed on logo like you find on some bumpers. It's an actual mold that they use to create the bumper, and it's just really nice looking. So that's that. Let's move on. All right, guys, so we're kind of coming up on the end here. I just got a few more things to show you, and that is my Barbell Gun Rack. These are the Rogue Fitness gun racks. This holds 15 bars total, 6, 6, 3. I primarily use this for traditional bars, and the majority of those are power bars, considering that's what I'm most into. I do have a couple specialty bars here. One is the Vulcan Buffalo bar, which is a nice budget alternative to the Kabuki Strength Duffalo bar. That's the Rep Rackable Stainless Steel Curl bar, which I never use in the rack. What's up, Massonomics? I've also got a multi-purpose bar as well as an Olympic lifting bar up there at the top. A few others worth noting, got the Rep Power Bar EX in stainless steel. This is one of, if not my favorite bar in my entire collection. It's got a very aggressive knurl that I love for deadlifts and low bar squats. I've got the Rogue Fitness Stainless Steel Ohio Power Bar, which is arguably the best all-purpose power bar. It's aggressive, but not too aggressive, so you can use it on all 3 lifts very efficiently and effectively. Got the Kabuki Strength Electroless Nickel Power Bar, American Barbell Mammoth Bar, and a few others here that I use frequently as well. Now, I don't use every one of these bars all the time. Obviously, I try to cycle through them as much as I can, but I've definitely got some of my favorites. And when I have people come over here and they're like, man, why do you have so many bars? Like, don't they all do the same thing? The answer is no, they don't do the same thing. Every one of these bars has their own individual characteristics, their own nuances that make them different for different applications, preferences, etc. So you can never have enough bars. Well, maybe you can have enough bars. I always do encourage people to have more than one bar so that they can cycle through them, so they can have multiple people working out. If they have certain preferences for a given lift, so they can do supersets, whatever. More than one bar is a good thing. 35, I'm a hoarder. What we have here, guys, is the Torq Tank M4, which in my opinion is one of the best sleds on the market. Great for conditioning, great for eccentric strength, pulling, etc. What makes this unit nice is that it has built-in adjustable resistance. So starting down here in neutral, which is basically nothing, going all the way up to 3, which is quite a bit of resistance. It has a center carriage here for, carrying accessories or putting plates in here to keep traction to the ground, as well as make sure it's steering in a straight line. It also has a bi-directional movement due to these dual brakes, which means you can push and pull this in either direction. Super nice, so you don't have to turn it around or anything like that. Another great benefit of these is the all-terrain tires, which means you can basically use this on any surface. And I don't know about you, but for me, if I'm pulling a regular metal sled down my street, I think my HOA and my neighbors are gonna kill me. So you don't have that problem with this sled. This thing is not inexpensive. I think it's around $1,600, although they do have it for sale, I think a couple $100 off on occasion on their website. But if you do a lot of this kind of work, I would definitely recommend at least checking out the M4 and Torq in general. I also have the Torq Tank M1, which I'll show you right now. And here it is, the Torq Tank M1, the most recent addition to Torq's lineup of sleds. This is their most economical, both in terms of price at under $800 and in terms of size. I just got this one in a couple days ago. I just got it put together. I've only had a chance to play around with it a couple times, but my initial impressions are really good. This would compare favorably to the Expo trainer from Armored Fit, with the main difference being that this has magnetic resistance as well as that adjustment feature just like on the M4 where you can change it on the fly from neutral to 3. Now because this unit is lighter, you're going to need to put a plate here just to maintain traction to the ground, but it uses the same all-terrain tires, a lot of the same stuff, just in a much more compact and budget-friendly setup. It also stores on the wall. This thing breaks down super easy. Pull out the handles, lay the tow bar flat, and you're good to go. And last but certainly not least, guys, we've got the bridge-built Phoenix Rack. If you're not familiar with bridge-built, they're a smaller group out of Cincinnati, Ohio, making some very innovative products. This is a great example of that. As you can see, it's a squat stand, very similar to like a Rogue Monster squat stand, but it folds up into basically nothing. It's got wheels on the side for easy storage and portability. I like to take mine outside personally and do some outdoor lifting when it's nice out. But if you're someone who trains in an apartment or a bedroom, or maybe you've got a garage gym, but your wife won't let you take any more of the space, this could be a great option for you. Patrick has some of the best powder coats I've ever seen. This is the copper specifically, reflects light beautifully. He's also got some really, really nice other looking stuff, including a raw clear grind that looks fantastic. And then his attention to detail, guys, is absolutely phenomenal. Check out these J-cups. Clear polymer UHMW with the logo inset there. Really, really fancy, really good stuff. These use 3-4-inch holes, so you're not gonna be able to use too many cross-compatibility attachments as is, but he's got his fair share as well. So yeah, guys, bridge-built Phoenix Rack. And there you have it, friends, the new and improved Garage Gym Lab. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have specific questions about my equipment or the layout or the cost of anything, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll be sure to answer. Until then, guys, I look forward to seeing you on future videos. As I mentioned earlier, I'm doing weekly content now, so definitely subscribe if you haven't already. And until then, be well, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Drop that. Yeah.